I don't think reviewers think enough about where questions come from. I mean, if you're doing a PhD and you have to do a review, it's driven by your PhD review topic. But these are the 4 questions I take to most clients that I interact with when I'm drawing up a tender or understanding a request. Who wants to know the answer and what do they want to do with it? Really matter and really affect how I go about my work. What is already known and decided tells me about the political context, and it allows me an opportunity to say, no, I will not find evidence to support this thing that you're doing. I will give you a neutral rendering of the evidence around a question that relates to that thing that you're doing. And I need to know what the other decision-making inputs are. I came up with this weird dad jokey sort of thing about describing how we do our work at the Evidence Review Service, which is about takeoffs and landings, which is why we have the aeroplane, right? So I think that the takeoff is very, very neglected. And like 2 out of the 5 things in our model of how we work, which is freely available via that very long link, but you could just look BehaviourWorks method book or go to the BehaviourWorks website and download chapter 1, is understanding the context and scope and getting the question right. This is a huge conundrum in the era of rapid reviews, because what generally happens is people go, look, we don't have time to sit around for an hour and a half working out what the question is, you know, we've got to get an answer. And the conundrum is, the less time you have, the more important the question is, because you do not have time to turn that plane around if you're due to send a review back in 2 weeks. So I insist on meeting with clients for at least an hour and often longer and understanding exactly what the problem is they're trying to solve. And as you would know, I know that you know this, which is why the type is so small, but in the book chapter, we know that what is a problem question, we need to look at observational epidemiological data. A what works question, we're looking at trials. How might this work? We might be looking at theory of change. What risks are present? We're looking at completely different bodies of literature. And then when I say that to mostly government clients, they're like, well, actually, we would actually like a review on all of those things, please. And then I say, would you like to give me 5 times as much money? And then they say, oh, can't you just do them all in the one review? And then I say, we need to prioritise. Another area of science that is neglected and which we've done some really cool stuff on. This is a paper that's in press where we prioritised $34 million of funding through the MRFF for cardiovascular and diabetes research in Australia. We did a national survey, we generated hundreds of ideas, we deduplicated them into a long list, and then we did this weird thing where you think about the criteria by which you're going to prioritise. So if I ask you what your top 3 priorities are for your area of work, you can probably name them, and it's like, how did you arrive at that top 3? Well, were you looking at return on investment? Were you looking for feasibility? Were you looking for political expediency? Were you looking for et cetera, et cetera? And in about 45 minutes, you can get people to rank a list of 30 ideas using 4 or 5 prioritisation criteria. You can spit it back to them using a platform that is better than Mentimeter, which doesn't work, and you can put that on Twitter, and I've paid a subscription. And you can say, well, okay, if you're taking a return on investment lens, these are the top 3. If you're taking a feasibility lens, these are the top 3. Some of them rise to the top in multiple categories. You can weight them. They might say, look, I think clinical importance should be worth twice as much. Sure, let's make that worth twice as much. Here's your master list. Let's go. Really, really simple, very, very important, not done much. So that's number 4. I also put that in highlights because I thought that might be a good way of emphasising how important it is.